Do you ever get tired of your boring day-to-day life? I know I do. I say I did. Then I decided to do something about it. You see, conventional wisdom says that you live your life and then your parents die. And they give you whatever they have left over, an inheritance. I'm sorry, that just wasn't good enough for me. So I decided to do something about it. You know, I wanted my money right now. So one day, I walked up to my dad and I said to him,
Dad, I want what's coming to me right now. That's what my youngest son said to me. I want what's coming to me right now. All I can think of at that moment was, I'd like to give you what's coming to you right now. I brought you into this world, and I can make another one just like him. But he's my son, and I love him. So I gave him his money, and I told him, if he can have a better life on his own, without me, so be it. He packed his bags, and the next thing I knew,
I was out of there. Kissed this boring place goodbye. I had places to go, people to see. So the first thing I did was...
my son got lost. I love him, but he's no Magellan. I heard he had to stop not just once, but 4 times, even before he left our hometown.
You know what? No, not 4, okay? It was 3. And one of them wasn't even my fault. I couldn't understand what the guy was saying, and I was like, okay, thank you. And besides, the only reason I can't follow directions is because somebody never taught me how to follow directions.
Don't go there.
Okay, look, the point is
that my younger brother left. Father and I have taken care of him since he was a child, and now he's gone. And you know what? He's just gonna come running back, so let him leave. He's not gonna be happy out there.
I was so happy once I got out of there. I started to live it up. I mean, I had more friends than I knew what to do with. I was eating like a king, and I had the finest clothes. And the ladies, what can I say about the ladies?
I can say something about the ladies. They were women, but they were not ladies, if you know what I mean.
Okay, you know what? Never mind. The thing was, life was good.
Until my son's money ran out. Around the same time, a recession hit our country.
There wasn't any work to be found. I mean, I tried. I really tried. But there just weren't any jobs. Eventually, I found a job. It wasn't bad. It was a manager's position. It was an associate's position at... Okay, it was a bacon preparation assistant.
Which means...
I fed pigs. I hated that job. They didn't pay much. I didn't even have enough money for a place to live. There were many days I didn't even have enough money to eat. Sometimes I was so hungry, I would gladly eat the disgusting scraps I was feeding to the pigs. But I couldn't. They wouldn't let me. So with hunger pains, it was a constant reminder of how I squandered everything my father had given me. I lived in agony. Day after day after day after day after day. I'd watch and I'd wait for my son to come home. And my heart would ache as only a parent's heart could for his own child. But hear me on this. I never gave up on him. I never gave up on him. I knew that it would happen one day. One day it hit me. One day I realized that the lowliest of my father's workers lived better than I did. At least they had a place to live and food to eat. And I didn't even have either one of those things. So I wondered,
what if he doesn't come to his senses? What if he lets his pride get in the way? No. I will see him again. I will definitely see him again.
Again and again. These thoughts ran through my head as I began my journey back to my father's house. I knew what I would do. There's no way I would accept the handout, and I couldn't expect him to take me back as his son. So I would ask him to hire me as a worker. Maybe he would do that. Just maybe.
Maybe today will be the day that my son would come home. That's what I would say every morning when I'd wake up. Maybe today will be the day that I will see him in the distance as he makes his way back home.
Home. That word means so many things. Comfort, care, security, love. Home. I couldn't believe I was just a few hundred yards away from it.
It was a beautiful day. I was sitting on my front porch, and that's when I saw him.
He stood up out of his chair. He looked in my direction. He squinted his eyes to get a better look at me. And then I began to wonder, what if he doesn't want to take me back? What if I get to him and he just looks at me and he says, I told you so. I told you so.
Some of you would just roll your eyes every time I mention my son. But I knew he would come back. I just knew.
I just knew this was a bad idea. I knew I shouldn't have done this. And so I just stopped.
He just stood there.
I couldn't move.
I couldn't just stand there so.
He jumped. My dad literally jumped off the porch. I've never seen anything like that before. It was like he was this little kid who was excited about something. And then it hit me. He was excited about me. So you know what I did next? I ran.
My heart was pounding so fast. I just had to get to him.
I've never seen him run so fast. He was running at me with his arms stretched out wide, as if to say, "Welcome home! Welcome home!"
That's what I kept shouting to him. But I don't know if he could hear me. So I just kept shouting it over and over. All I wanted to do was just scoop him up in my arms, like when he was a little child, and just let him know that everything was going to be okay. And as I got close to him, I could see tears running down his face.
He was crying.
Tears of joy. Tears of joy. And do you know what my son did next?
I jumped. I was nervous. I was excited. And so I literally jumped. You know what my father did next?
Well, I fell backwards. He's a big boy, my son. And look at me. I'm just an old, well, let's just say I'm not young anymore.
And then he hugged me. He embraced me like only a father can. I kept saying to him over and over again, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't deserve to be called your son."
My son is back. Get him some clean clothes.
Wait. What's that sound?
We must celebrate. A meal? No, a feast.
A feast? Father threw my brother a feast after he just left us? So I went to Father and said, "Look, all of these years I've served you, and I've never disobeyed you. Yet you never throw me a feast. When brother comes back after just throwing away your money on women, you just want to celebrate?"
I understood that my eldest son was upset, and I was beyond happy that he's always been by my side. And so I told him, it was right to celebrate and be glad, for your brother has returned, for all my hopes have come true.
I guess it was hope. Hope that made me start my journey back home. Hope that got me through all the miles. A hope that my father would take me back and somehow I could be forgiven.
Forgiven. That's all forgiven. And I will never bring it up ever again. There is no shame. There is no guilt. For my son was lost, and now he's found.